Have you ever noticed how exhausted you feel? Not just physically, but in a way that medical tests can't detect and a night's sleep can't fix? It's a tiredness born from the constant effort to fit into a world that demands too much all the time. It's the exhaustion of pushing yourself, keeping up appearances, pretending to be strong, and acting in control when inside, everything is quietly falling apart. Maybe you've learned that living well means having everything planned, controlled, and organized. But that belief that you must control everything is what's draining your vital energy. We try every day to force an existence that doesn't respect our natural rhythm. We make lists, set goals, create routines, yet something still feels empty. Something inside us silently screams for another way to live. You may not have put it into words, but you feel it. The fatigue of fighting the current, the sense that there's a forgotten wisdom in simply letting things be. Perhaps that's why you're here, ready to let go of the weight of control and discover a lighter, truer way to live. We're going to talk about an ancient principle that doesn't promise magic but offers something more powerful: real peace. The peace of living in harmony with life, not against it. Stop and ask yourself, how often do you try to force things that aren't ready? How often do you blame yourself for not controlling what's naturally uncontrollable? How many decisions have you made out of fear? Fear of losing something, seeming weak, or not doing enough. We've been trained to swim against life's current. From childhood, we're taught that success comes from effort, persistence, even when everything in us screams to stop. So we become anxious, insecure adults, disconnected from our own existence because no one taught us the art of letting go, observing, and trusting. Wu Wei isn't about doing nothing. It's about acting with awareness, lightness, and respect for the timing of things. It's moving from being an exhausted rower fighting the current to a wise sailor adjusting the sails to flow with the wind. Alan Watts said that when you stop forcing life, something magical happens. The right doors open, the right paths appear, the right answers emerge. Not because you force them, but because you made space for them to surface. Maybe you're here because you're tired, because you've realized forcing doesn't work, and you're ready for a calmer, more authentic way to live. In the next few minutes, you'll see why Wu Wei isn't just a beautiful philosophy. It's a key, a practice, a shift in perspective that can bring back the peace you've been chasing by trying to control everything. So breathe, relax your shoulders, and stay present. This is the start of a journey to understand the true essence of Wu Wei. To grasp Wu Wei, we need to go beyond pretty words and dive into its roots in Taoism and Zen. Forget for a moment how you've been conditioned to see philosophy as ideas to memorize. The Tao and Zen aren't concepts you understand with your mind. They're realities you feel with your body, spirit, and life itself. The Tao, meaning path or way, isn't a theory or rule book. It's the invisible flow that moves everything: the growth of trees, the dance of seasons, birth and death, joy and sorrow, all following a natural intelligence beyond our understanding. Lao Tzu, the Taoist master, said the Tao that can be described isn't the true Tao. Why? Because when we try to capture life in words, it's already moved on. The Tao is like the wind. You can feel it, flow with it, but never trap it in a box. Zen, born when Buddhism met Taoism in ancient China, takes this further. It doesn't explain reality. It dismantles what blocks you from experiencing it directly. There are no doctrines to memorize, only the practice of being fully present in each breath, step, and moment. Both Taoism and Zen whisper an uncomfortable truth. You're not in control, and your attempt to control life is what pulls you away from yourself. They don't offer escape but reconciliation with what is, a return to the trust you had as a child, when you could play without fear, fall without shame, and try without needing success. But these teachings can feel distant to a Western mind shaped by reason, logic, and obsession with results. This is where Alan Watts comes in. In the next part, we'll explore who he was and how he translated these invisible wisdoms, showing that the Tao and Zen aren't exotic luxuries, but urgent needs for living truly in a fragmented world. Get ready to meet the man who bridged East and West and might open a new door within you. Imagine a time when concepts like Tao, Zen, Wu Wei and meditation, were seen as strange, exotic curiosities in the West, irrelevant to modern life. This was when Alan Watts emerged, not just as a scholar but as an alchemist of ideas, translating the soul of these ancient traditions for an audience suffering spiritually without realizing it. Watts wasn't a missionary. He was a provocative thinker who challenged Western certainties. He saw that the biggest obstacle to understanding the Tao in Zen was fear. Fear of losing control, of letting go of the illusion of mastering life. Watts didn't aim to indoctrinate. He wanted to free people from dogmas, the tyranny of goals, and obsession with results. His mission was to show that peace, fulfillment, and meaning aren't found in controlling the world, but in allowing it to be. He spoke with disarming lightness, not heavy authority, sharing from his own experience. Watts didn't offer easy answers. He dismantled questions, stripped away masks, and invited the mind to stumble so something real could emerge. He knew the Tao and Zen couldn't be explained logically, so he used simple, powerful metaphors, like a river flowing naturally or a sailor moving with the wind. He showed that life is like music. The goal isn't to rush to the end, but to dance with each note, without hurry or anxiety. Watts challenged a generation to rethink what it means to live well, knowing that trying to win at life dooms us to lose it. His voice still resonates because he spoke to our invisible wounds, modern loneliness, existential anxiety, and disconnection from the present. But understanding Wu Wei intellectually isn't enough if you're still fighting the current in practice. Next, we'll explore how the river metaphor reveals the root of our suffering and the path to true freedom. Close your eyes and picture a vast, powerful river carrying everything in its path: stones, leaves, fish, earth. Now imagine someone in that river, desperately swimming against the current. Every move is a struggle, every effort frustrated. The body tires, muscles tense, the mind panics. The more they fight, the further they are from peace. This is the human suffering Alan Watts described. The river metaphor shows that suffering rarely comes from circumstances themselves, but from our resistance to what is. When you lose a job, a relationship ends, or a plan fails, fighting reality, clinging to what's gone, creates suffering, like trying to hold water in your hands. Watts explained that life, like a river, has its own rhythm and intelligence. You don't need to push or control it. You need to trust its flow. This doesn't mean passive acceptance, but acting in harmony with forces beyond your control, like a surfer riding waves, not dominating them. Fighting reality creates tension in your body, mind, and spirit, leading to anxiety, frustration, and helplessness. You know you're sinking, but the fear of losing control is stronger than the fear of suffering. Yet the river metaphor holds a promise. There's another way to live, one that doesn't require constant struggle. By letting go, you don't lose yourself. You find yourself. The river isn't your enemy, it's your ally, guiding you to places your mind could never plan. But this takes courage, courage to trust the unknown and abandon the illusion of control. Next, we'll explore how Western culture has built an invisible prison of control and effort, and how it's quietly destroying us. You've been trained to believe that everything you want requires relentless effort, sacrifice, and control. From childhood, you've heard, "Don't give up. You can do anything if you try hard enough. The world belongs to the strong." You grew to believe that if you're not always fighting, planning, or fixing, something terrible will happen. This belief has created an invisible prison of tension, fear disguised as ambition, and anxiety painted as determination. Alan Watts saw that the West's worship of effort and control has built a neurotic civilization where people run without knowing where they're going. Doing has become more important than being, and calm is seen as a threat, a weakness to fix. We live in societies that glorify excess, productivity, information, goals. Life becomes an endless project to manage, optimize, maximize. In this pursuit, you drift further from yourself, becoming a stranger in your own existence. Have you felt it? Doing everything right, studying, working, producing, yet carrying an unbearable void, as if something essential is missing? That missing piece is your connection to life's natural flow, something that can't be forced, only lived. But the control-obsessed mind fears the unpredictable, the unknown. It craves guarantees, building suffocating routines and rigid goals to eliminate uncertainty. Yet uncertainty is part of life's beauty. By trying to erase it, we lose the magic, the surprise, the spontaneity that makes life worth living. Watts warned that the more we try to control life, the more we disconnect from it. It's like trapping a flower's fragrance in a sealed box. You preserve the form, but lose the essence. The result is an artificial, exhausting existence where everything, even emotions and dreams, must be managed like a factory. But there's a way out, a way to break these invisible chains and live lightly without abandoning responsibility. Next, we'll explore how to apply Wu Wei in a modern world that demands haste but craves presence. Applying Wu Wei in a rushed world isn't about abandoning responsibilities or isolating yourself. It's not apathy or negligence, as some mistake it for. Wu Wei is acting from awareness, attention, and alignment with what's real and possible, not from a frantic need to force outcomes. It begins with humility, admitting you don't rule the universe, that larger forces are always at play. Your real power lies in listening to them, feeling them, moving with them. Wu Wei means slowing down, breathing, observing before reacting. It's choosing quality over quantity, depth over haste. It's the courage to say no to obligations that feed only the ego's need for validation. It's silencing external noise to hear your inner voice, the one always guiding you but often ignored. Wu Wei is trusting life's natural cycles. Times for action, times for waiting, times for growth, times for retreat. Our growth-obsessed culture calls pausing failure, but Watts reminds us that even winter has a role in nature. Sometimes the greatest progress is simply being where you are, without rushing the next chapter. Practicing Wu Wei is a conscious rebellion against collective anxiety. It's rejecting the scarcity mindset, that you're never enough, never have enough time, never do enough, and embracing the abundance of simply being. But it requires vigilance. The old programming of control and haste will try to pull you back, whispering that you're falling behind, need to do more, prove more. In those moments, you have a choice. Repeat the pattern of resistance or trust life's flow. Next, we'll explore what happens when you stop forcing, how everything in your life begins to change. There's a moment when you must decide, keep forcing, fighting, swimming against the current until you're exhausted, or let go, realizing life isn't a battle to win, but a mystery to live. Alan Watts said transformation happens not when you force change, but when you stop resisting what's trying to emerge within you. When you stop forcing, you create space. Space for life to surprise you, for new opportunities to arise, for your intuition to guide you. True freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's being so aligned with life that your actions flow naturally from what reality demands. It's acting without anxiety, creating without pressure, loving without fear. It's moving from a desperate manager of your existence to a conscious participant in life's infinite dance. This takes practice, vigilance, and courage to face old impulses that pull you back to futile struggle. Before you go, pause and reflect. Where in your life are you forcing things the most? Where are you swimming against the current, fighting something that might just need acceptance or flow? Share it in the comments. Naming it is a huge step toward freedom. If this resonates, share this video with someone who needs to let go and trust life's flow. Write in the comments, I choose to trust life's rhythm, to seal this commitment to yourself. The next video is your next step toward transformation. Watch it now and keep moving lighter. Thank you, and see you there.